Welcome to a very special AthFest episode of Load In, Load Out, a Tour Story podcast produced in Athens, Georgia, in association with Kindercore Industries. In this episode, Ryan and Cash had a chance to sit down with Hunter Morris of the band Blue Blood. They've got an album release show going on today, the 23rd, at Little King Shuffle Club for their new record on the Laser Brains label, entitled Pretty Wars. They'll be sharing the bill with Palace Doctor, Drew Beskin, and Cowboy Curtis with a supporting set from DJ Quincy. Ryan and Cash sat down with Hunter to talk about the nature of stories left untold, being prepared to properly welcome DJ Jazzy Jeff in Philadelphia, and amicably deciding not to attend shows with a friend.
All this time I've been trying to find the right line to take. I like pretty houses built on the sand. And all this time I've been trying to find the right time to take. If you find just getting by, baby, I'm your man.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan.
Hello, it's Cash.
And this is Load In.
Load Out.
And we are here this week with Hunter Morris of Blue Blood.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Excellent. So, thanks for coming here. We hear you've been working on finishing up a new record.
Yeah, well, working on releasing said
The
record.
record's finished, right? Yeah, okay. So,
It's been, I mean, it hasn't been done that long, but you know how that goes.
Yeah,
It's been done for a while. And
you feel like it's taken a long time, though.
Yeah,
Because,
always.
When you're working on it, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah. So, when is it, first of all, when's it coming out?
Comes out this Friday.
Okay. Which is...
the 23rd of June.
Of June, yes. Okay.
We're
Excellent.
we're kind of parlaying AthFest show into record release show.
Cool.
So
Very nice. Where are you playing?
we're playing at Little Kings, hopefully outside.
Okay, cool.
We'll see what the weather has
Is
to
the
say
weather
about
supposed
that.
to be bad this week?
No, I think it's looking good now.
Yeah,
But
They got all the rain out of the way.
yeah.
yeah.
Early in the week.
It all happened yesterday all at once.
Hopefully, it'll still be there, and it'll be inside. If
Yeah.
I feel like Little Kings is one of the better places to play. I love playing Little Kings.
As long
People
as-
tend to go there no matter what.
yeah, and as long as again, if it's outside and the weather's nice, it's
Yeah.
ideal, and it's fun inside too.
Yeah.
So it'll
Definitely.
be good either way. But I'm kind of hoping an outside show, and that's our Laser Brains label showcase.
Yeah.
It's Cowboy Curtis, Drew Beskin, Palace Doctor, and Blue Blood.
Nice. That's awesome. So Laser Brains is an Atlanta Athens thing, or in Athens, or where is it?
It's more Athens
More
than
Athens,
Atlanta, but
yeah.
kind of a
little bit of both.
loose collective. It's
Cool.
mainly headed up by Drew and Philip.
Nice. That's awesome. So is this the third record?
This is the second Blue Blood record.
The second Blue Blood record. Okay.
It's the third record that I've worked with Hank on because
Okay.
he produced the Gift Horse album.
Okay, and that's Hank
Sullivan.
from
From Karoma
uh-huh.
and formerly of the
Wigs.
and MGMT.
MGMT. Cool. And so does he still live around here?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's awesome. So you guys have been working together for 3 records, but this is the second Blue Blood record.
Correct.
Cool. That's awesome. And where did you guys record?
We recorded at Kyle Spence's studio.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about the collaboration with Hank is that his role has grown each time. Like, so on the Gift Horse record, he just produced. On the first Blue Blood album, he somewhat engineered because we did some pretty extensive demos, and a lot of those tracks ended up on the album.
Right.
And he played on it a good bit and produced it. And then on this record, he actually played on it and engineered some stuff again because we used some demo tracks.
Some demos, yeah.
Recorded at Kyle's, who engineered it, and then Hank actually mixed it and produced it as well.
Cool.
And he does. I mean, it's a pretty involved collaboration. I mean, I write the songs, but he does a lot of arrangement stuff, and
Cool.
And then Nick Robbins played, who is a pretty talented musician in his own right because he plays guitar in the live band, but he played all the drums and bass on the album.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then is he giving a hard time to the live drummer and bass player for not playing?
We have Philip Brantley plays bass.
Cool.
And Jeremy Wheatley plays drums. So
it's hard to give them a hard time.
Yeah, he doesn't give them too much of it.
Well, cool. So then working with Hank, I mean, you guys are buddies too, right? Mm-hmm. So like that sort of evolved from a friendship into a collaboration into even bigger one.
Yeah, it was, we ended up deciding to work together on the Gift Horse album, which was a cool brain to have thinking through those Gift Horse songs, because they're pretty dense and pretty dark, a lot of them, and I think it was a really, we come towards music from like very different angles, even though a lot of other stuff we might have in common, like it just kind of merged into
like the differing perspectives coming together and
it was like opened my eyes to some stuff, probably opened his eyes to some stuff, and then we really enjoyed working together. And so then when Gift Horse was kind of, after that album came out, we did some touring.
Yeah. So what happened to that? Did you sort of tell us about that band into Blue Blood?
Yeah. So it just kind of, like
ran
these
course.
Things do. Yeah.
Yeah.
it
was that more of a full band?
Yes, that was a. Mike Stokes and I wrote songs together. We kind of wrote our own songs and then picked which ones, and shared songwriting duties. And then we had different bass players and drummers at different times. But, it was always, when the songwriting part was going on, it was always the band in the room writing their parts.
Yeah.
And that's the way the Gift Horse album was as well, so not just for live parts. And then once that had run its course, we probably for another year after that album was out, and then it was just kind of but I had a whole nother album's worth of songs that I had been working on for that, but they were already going in a way different direction anyways. Probably as a direct result of the kind of the stuff I started to like about working with Hank from that album. And so then when it became evident that it wasn't going to be a Gift Horse album and the band had kind of run its course, then, Hank, we talked about doing it a few different ways, and he made the initial suggestion he was like, let's just me and you record it.
Just come in and do it,
then we'll get somebody to play drums, and so that's how we did the first album, and it turned out really cool, and I feel like the progression of the music kind of has stayed on that same arc, because this album is a lot brighter and
cool,
and it's still got its like sarcastic moments and its dark moments, but it's like it's a lot more fun and playful.
It's more like pop elements to it and stuff.
A lot more.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then bringing Nick in to write some bass and drum parts and play.
So what's the instrumentation like on the record? Is it kind of all over? Are you doing
there's a lot
stuff?
Of a lot of I play primarily just like piano and organ and keyboards on the album. I don't think I played but just a couple of guitar parts on the album.
Yeah.
I play guitar a good bit more live just because it's we need it in certain places.
Right.
But in the studio, Hank is such an incredible
guitar
player.
Yeah.
So even some parts that I wrote on the guitar, he would play because he's so good.
Yeah.
And so tasteful and like
it's always good when you can find a relationship like that though, where you don't feel weird giving it to him, because like there are some times when you're in a studio with somebody and it's like, I can play that part better, just let me play it, and you're like, dude, what? No, fuck you.
Right. Yeah. No, with Hank, when there were even certain parts where I was like, I know now that this is our third album working together, I know that you'll know what I hear in my head, and you're a way better guitar player.
Right. So you're just like, take this and run with it, and then, that's cool. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool collaboration.
Yeah, that's exciting that you're able to do that.
We'd like to thank you for listening to this episode of Load In, Load Out. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, head on over to kindercore.com, where you're going to find everything that we're up to. That includes projects, podcasts, and some information about our new vinyl pressing plant, Kindercore Vinyl. If you're liking the show, also head on over to iTunes and hit us with a review. That helps people find us, and we appreciate it.
You went to bed with
This week, we'd like to shine a little light and love on Girls Rock Athens. Girls Rock Athens is a nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering girls, women, trans, and non-binary folks of all backgrounds and abilities through music education, creation, and performance. They provide leadership opportunities, build self-esteem, and provide people of marginalized genders with a safe place to express themselves. Go to girlsrockathensga.org to learn more, donate, or volunteer. That web address again is girlsrockathensga.org.
They say it's all the same. A fire's a flame.
Then you take that, like from the first record when you did that, and it was basically you and him and brought in some other people, but then you went and put together a live band to go play, right?
Right.
And has that live band stayed consistent, or has that changed?
I think it's only I think Nick has been in the band the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
There may have been one or two shows that he couldn't do, but I mean, for a while there, it was a very frequently changing,
right?
But just because I wanted it to be that way, because I didn't want it to be like anybody was obligated. But,
right.
The end of Gift Horse had kind of gotten to that point where you just feel like people are doing what they said they would do, even though everybody knows it's not really going anywhere.
They don't really want to do it anymore, but
or even if they do, So I didn't want to have that. So it was pretty loose there for a while, and then we had for a pretty extended period of time, Noel Brown and Michael Gonzalez from Brothers, and Michael plays in Deep State and some other bands.
Yeah,
and they were the rhythm section for a long time, and that was really fun. Noel played on a couple of synth bass parts on the album. Actually, we kind of wanted to, bring in a certain element that he could do. So yeah, it's just always kind of. But they live in Atlanta now, so it just kind of gradually turned into having a different rhythm section.
So have you guys mostly played as Blue Blood? Have you mostly played around Georgia and stuff? Or?
Yeah, I mean, we've played we've played Birmingham 4 or 5 times maybe.
Cool.
Did you guys do the secret stages thing there?
No.
I remember seeing you guys do that.
No. Did we? Maybe we did.
It's like that festival that goes on in Birmingham. It's really cool. It's like mostly new bands.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I'm wondering if at this point, I can't remember.
There's an equal chance that you played it and don't remember it, or that Cash just totally made it up.
Right.
There's those are both. There's an equal chance of both.
I just can't remember if Gift Horse did it.
Yeah.
I think I don't know.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, it's like a long time. It's a whole lot of shows that nobody was at.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's really hard to remember where you didn't play.
Where you played for no one.
Right.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
They all blend together.
It is. Empty rooms tend to look the same.
Yeah, it's weird.
Empty dark rooms.
Yeah.
But so yeah. I mean, do you like what live versus recording? Like, where's your heart at with this band? Is it more of one or the other?
Both. I mean, I think that's been a big element that has led to maybe not over touring.
Yeah.
And we've played, Chattanooga and Nashville and Atlanta a bunch of times.
That's touring.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now we get out and play, but to make sure it's always either maybe gonna be worth doing.
Right.
You don't never guarantee, but either maybe it's gonna be worth doing or it's just gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And so the live band has pretty much been like as enjoyable as the studio, even though it's definitely a studio band first.
Right. So do the songs come together in the studio too, or you were talking about doing demos of stuff?
Yeah, I think we have our system now.
Well,
no, when we tracked most of the stuff at Kyle's,
even the demo stuff, or
no, we did that at the house.
Okay,
but then we would replay a lot of those parts, maybe just with better tone and better feel, and once we had time to hash out. But then there's some guitar solos on that album that Hank recorded first take at my house, and
nice.
we tried 5 takes of it.
Yeah, and it was just like, no, man, that's the one. Yeah, that's cool.
I feel like I know more bands that are doing that more, that are they can be successful without touring, just being a studio band and putting out albums. I mean, we're starting to get to a point where it'll almost be where you can play live to a Bill was talking about this the other day, like have a band set up somewhere and sell digital tickets, and you just watch them play in a room, and you're there, but you're not really there.
Yeah,
I've yet to cross over to the dark side of thinking that's okay.
You want people to get out of their living rooms and come to that?
I mean, I just feel like there's something like it's kind of like visceral.
Yeah. Sure. The exciting thing about it, though, I guess, is that the opportunity for people that just live in a place where you would never be able to see that stuff. But
and, you know, I'm more about the people coming to see live shows, but after playing and doing shows for so long, it just seems like people are not getting out of their house as much, not just for bands, but just in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's hard to get people to come out to shows. Like a successful show used to be a couple hundred people. Now, if you got 50 people at a show, that's a good show.
I was having that exact conversation the other day. It's just so much access to everything.
There's too much entertainment available to us.
Phone, you know, that you're just. It's gonna naturally. I do it. I love going to see a band live, and I'm still, you know, like, I checked them out. You know, like, I didn't make it to the show, because I got to get up early and go to work.
And even if you're at the show, half the people are like this anyway. With their phone, looking down at their phone, taking pictures, or texting people or whatever, you know.
Well, and the attention span thing that I mean, there's validity to that. Like, I do that too. Like, I have to admit, like, instead of sitting down and like listening to a whole album of a band, I'll listen to a song or two and then tell people that I checked them out.
Right. You know then you're like, I got an idea what they sound like. That's fine.
Well, it's not just with albums either. It seems like with bands, like, I mean, we're probably all relatively the same age. So remember back when you would follow a band, like Built the Spill, for example. It took them a couple of years to put out albums, but you were going to buy their next album because when you liked a band, you liked a band.
Right.
And you didn't know everything that was going on with that band, and you weren't being thrown everything your way that, you like Built the Spill, you like this band, you like this band, this band. So by the time Built the Spill's put out a new album, you've already heard 1,000 bands, and you've almost forgotten about it. So it's like at a point now where if you're a band, you have to put out new material, whether it's new video, a new single, live recording, something every 3 months. And if you're not doing that, then people just forget about you now.
Well, like, good example is this, you know, we're not a big band, and so you don't expect to get, you know, I think the album's like by far the best thing I've ever done, and I hope it, you know, it's getting really good response so far, but like, you gotta have realistic expectations. That there's so much out there. And
you've made 2 albums already, you know how hard it is to get them
and a lot of EPs before that. You know, but one thing we've done with this album rollout, when we talked about how to do, you know, we've gotten some good features, some good single premieres, and I wanted, like, we've got a couple of videos for a couple of songs too, and we initially had talked about, you know, having this plan where once a week for 6 weeks up to the album coming out, we would have something
nice.
And I mean, we kind of did that like the last 3 weeks, but I was like, man, let's save a couple, both of the videos for, you know, we'll do one in a month and another one a month after that, and just get more out of so that it's available
too.
Especially as a band that isn't gonna, you know, we'll tour more this fall. Just because we now have a new album out. But it's not like we're gonna go.
You're not gonna be out 6 months a year.
Exactly. Or even a month. You know, we're not gonna go out and book a, like, I mean,
it makes more sense, especially if you're in an area like this where you can hit a bunch of places to do weekends or 3 or 4 days. You know, I mean, everybody's got to work. You're not going to make a living going out and playing shows. And, you know,
there's no real point going out longer than 2 weeks right now, unless, well, at a certain level. Once you get to like fucking Flaming Lips, then okay, go out 3 months at a time, fine. But until you're actually making money, like your main income is music, then there's no point in going out for longer than 2 weeks.
There's really just make you hate it.
That's like the breaking point. I always say it's a breaking point. 2 weeks is the breaking point. It's like where you're like, all right, had a lot of fun. We did okay. We didn't make any money, but we still have enough money left over. I'm ready to fucking go home.
I agree. That was always the point where it would get kind of dark.
After
and I never did like, you know, 3-month tours or anything. But even if we do like a 3-week tour, that last week always just sucked.
3-month tour is one of the worst mistakes I've ever made. Oh, yeah. It was horrible.
I've been there too.
The band barely survived it.
Do you have any stories from those dark times that you're allowed to tell?
Yeah, give us some week 3 stories.
I was trying to remember something because it has been. Oh no, you don't want to hear the week 3 stories. Those cannot be.
Things get really bad.
Things get really dark.
Oh, I think that's funny because there's people who come in here and tell stories, and I always think to myself, these are the ones they're allowed to tell.
Right.
So like. And they're nuts.
I mean, like,
think about the ones that they're not willing to tell anybody.
The Lee Baines and the Glory Fires podcast, if you go back and listen to the stories that those guys told, I mean, I don't even want to know what the stories they didn't tell were.
Right. Yeah.
Like, because I think I hit my limit with what they told us. Like, I'm good to not know any more about them in that sense.
Yeah, I will think of you differently.
If you tell exactly. Me right. Yeah, we just know a lot about how they go to the bathroom now. We just know a lot about how they smell. And we didn't necessarily need to know all about that. Yeah.
I'm glad we do know about.
No, I am too. It was a great. Actually, it's one of my favorites because it's so
one of my favorites too.
Ridiculous. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's,
all right, I will.
Do you have any like crazy where you guys stayed anywhere that was like get me the fuck out of here?
Yeah. We had one in we stayed with some friends in I remember being like really drunk. And we stayed with some friends in Philly. It was Eddie Whalen. Y'all remember Eddie?
Yeah, I remember him.
He was living up here. They used to have that band, Grass Giraffes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we played our show, and Eddie and some friends were there. And then he took us back to his house, and they were up there doing like community work. They were in a really, really
bad. Yeah, and Philly has plenty of those.
Yes. Yeah. And I remember just like walking over people and needles and human feces.
Right. You're like, wow, this is where we are.
Yeah. And I remember we got back there, we had one more beer and everybody was wasted, so we were going to bed, and his roommate was like he turned the light off, and they were going upstairs and like, all right, good night, guys, you know, and he comes back down, and he turns the light back on. He's like, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, if anyone knocks on the door, which is going to happen at least at some point tonight, do not open the door.
Don't open the door.
And
oh God.
And this was like a week 3 where it was just like, oh my God, is this really? You know, we're like 5 of us.
Right, you're like, I'm finally going to get to fall asleep, and wait, now I have to worry about this. Somebody's trying to get in.
And I just remember, like, we had been talking about Fresh Prince, you know, because we're in Philly.
Philly, yeah, sure.
Like, as I was passing out, I remember just saying, well, what if it's DJ Jazzy Jeff? He was like, well, that's true. Then you can
open the door. Okay, yeah. Like, if it's actually him.
Yeah. But it's funny what you will put up with at that point in the tour.
Yeah.
Like, you would never do that here.
Yeah.
In your normal waking life, you would never put yourself in that situation. But once you're worn out from the road, it just kind of anything goes. Like, fine, fuck it. You want me to sleep around a bunch of used needles? All right, whatever. I just gotta sleep.
Yeah,
and it's an all-in situation at that point. Like, you're already out adrift at sea. What are you gonna do? Like, you can't swim home. You know, you gotta finish the tour out. You gotta, it's always interesting to see how bands deal with that stuff. Because I've seen bands or been in bands that fell apart when that stuff happened, and others that were like, no, we can, like rallied around that or whatever. And I think that makes a big difference because it's, it can be really weird out there.
That's true.
You ever had any shows within any of your bands where it was like, it just went to shit?
Oh, yeah. Like plenty of time. Yeah. Like, I remember
you're like most shows.
Yeah, pretty much all of them. You should come on Friday. See how bad that one is.
It's gonna be terrible.
It's gonna be terrible. I remember playing a fraternity party in Clemson, like in the middle of a, probably just like a 4 or 5 day thing or something. And we got done, and we were really drunk, and this kid walks up and like gives me some drugs.
Drugs. I like how you went to a lower register. He walked up and he gave me some drugs.
I was going to go into more detail than that. I was just like,
okay, no, that's fine. Right, so, we'll leave it at that.
Then we're, I guess, buddies with some of the kids in the fraternity, and we're playing on this deck out on the and this was like right when I was starting to play guitar and keys in Gift Horse, and I was not very good at doing that. And they ended up deciding that we, like, the other band wasn't there or something, so they wanted us to play a couple more
play
songs.
Again. Yeah.
So we basically, and then they were like, as we're getting up there, they're like, can y'all actually play for like another 45 minutes?
Oh my God.
And it didn't. I mean, I couldn't.
You're like, no, I can't.
We did. They did. I just kind of moved and like
just stand there like
way down. It was bad.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I felt like the deck. I mean, it was pretty high up in this. Anyways, that was a shit show.
Yeah, man.
But they probably didn't even notice. I mean,
right? I mean, they were probably like, "Oh, this is great."
We all know when we fuck up. And half the time, 90% of the time, people know. They just don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Which is kind of infuriating, honestly.
It is. Yep.
Because it's like, it's great that they don't know, but you're also like, well, they don't know. Like, then it doesn't matter if I do well, then, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's true, then they're also not going to notice an exceptionally good, rare.
Right. There's that true. Right. Yeah, that's true too.
Or like you pull off something like either drums or whatever, you play it, and you look up expecting
like, I did it,
freaking out,
and
you look up and everybody's just like,
kind of nodding on their phones. So how'd you get into playing in the first place?
Well, I was actually kind of late to. I mean, I played trumpet and piano when I was a kid, and then I played a lot of sports in middle school and high school, so I kind of got out of it. And then it had a couple of years of college of just getting wasted all the time. And then I was like, I gotta
do something
creative again.
So
I didn't really start writing songs until I was like in college.
Yeah, cool.
And I had a background of playing some music, but I just and I'd always done a lot of writing, and I always loved singing and playing a little bit, as bad as I was, but I don't know, I just kind of, it was like one of those pivotal life moments where I was like, I have to do this, and
you need an outlet.
It took like probably a year of really making myself practice a lot before I got back to where
that's cool. Did you jump back in on piano, or what did you
piano is definitely my first instrument.
Yeah, and then just making yourself play guitar on the side as your like
bet
you make with yourself.
We were talking about he was talking about the Creature Comfort set that I played by myself, and so I'll always, whatever I'm doing as solo sets, which I don't do that many of because I have a pretty busy, my business takes a lot of my time, but I always try to make myself uncomfortable. I either play all new songs,
right? Go outside of your comfort zone.
And so I started doing that. I started, whenever I would play a solo set, I would just only play guitar, and it would suck. It was terrible.
You're like, you're here, and you have to deal with this now.
Yeah, I would just put myself in that position, and it made me, I would practice a ton for the show because I knew I was going to be bad.
Like, it was going to stress you out, so you wanted to, like, really,
it was like damage control. It's like, I know this is going to suck.
Wow, but
it's going to be less bad if I'm at least...
So you're like forcing yourself to get better and to move forward at progression on playing the instrument and stuff.
And then same thing with Gift Horse. Like towards the end of that, after we had finished that album cycle, I was writing songs and just like making myself write on the guitar and play the songs on the guitar live, and it was not good. I mean, I'm not even... It was bad.
Sure.
Like there were some that were okay, but I mean, we had a cool thing with what we were doing with me just playing the keys, and I played Rhodes and organ. It was just a cool, pairing of instruments that wouldn't normally necessarily go together for the type of music we were doing.
Yeah.
And then, there was probably the last 6 months to a year of Gift Horse stuff where, I mean, there was cool stuff that came out of it, but just like putting yourself in an uncomfortable, like pushing yourself to
getting out of that. Yeah. That's cool. So, and then your family, you have musical relatives.
Yeah, my cousin, Hardy.
Yeah.
And we, that was probably a big push for me because we lived together all through college.
Okay.
And,
who's older?
We're the same, I'm a year older, but we're the same year in school.
Oh, okay.
I'm like a little bit older.
Did you guys go to school together? Like elementary school, middle school, high school, all that stuff?
Well, I mean, we grew up that way.
Near each other.
Yeah. Like
as siblings
we grew
almost.
up, hanging out up at the hunting the land in Thompson, Applin.
Sure.
Like where my grandparents lived, we'd go up there and hang out every weekend.
Yeah.
And, we went to different high schools, but we hung out all. I grew up in Augusta, and it grew really fast. So like a bunch of us that were all friends as kids. I mean, obviously that's family. So
sure.
But we had a lot of the same friends, and by the time we were in high school, we were in 3 different high schools.
Because the city grew so fast.
Right. So, So and then I mean, he had a band called Dead Confederate. I guess it's technically still a band. I think they played a show last year. So
he was our most recent guest.
Oh, okay.
And when we were talking about it, he was like, he was very non-committal about the future of Dead Confederate. He was just kind of like, oh, it's anyway. So I'm doing this thing now. And,
Well, so like all those guys that were in that band are good friends of mine. We all lived together at certain points as well.
Yeah.
And but yeah, they were doing their thing in a prior incarnation of Dead Confederate.
Okay.
When we were in college.
Yeah.
And just being around that and knowing how much I missed like that element of my life. I think had that not been my friend group at that time, I probably wouldn't have had the the like push to realize how much I wanted to make myself get back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think
it's always, I certainly think if I hadn't have been around my friend group from high school, it's crazy how much that shaped you as a musician, who you're around and who you're playing with.
Yeah.
I'm the drummer I am specifically because I played with my best friend Chuck, lead singer of the Cadets. He's such a weird guitarist, such a weird songwriter that I play drums the way I play drums because I had to learn to play to him.
Yep.
So you're so affected by the people around you when you start learning how to play that carries throughout your entire life.
I also think that, first of all, sometimes like that's a cool, quirky way for you to develop your style, right? But then you can also, and this is what I got better at, I think, as songwriting got better and playing got better and just taste of what fits what I want to make.
Sure, yeah.
Got better.
You refined your thing.
It's like you pick the ones, not necessarily your friends that are better, even though they may be, but the ones that you gravitate towards.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then let your style develop who you're influenced by, and let who you're influenced by develop your style, and then let it all kind of...
Yeah, finding a good group that meshes together. Yeah, everybody's works.
And it works both ways, though, you know? You don't, just because one of your friends is a killer musician, you don't want to like necessarily adjust your style to that if it's just because they're good. It's like, well, you know, I suck and you're good, but like I like what I'm doing. We don't need to play
together.
Right. When I tell people who are starting bands, I tell them that all the time. Like, don't worry about how good someone is at the instrument. Make sure that you can get along with them and that you like being around them and you like the ideas that they have. Yeah. Because you'll always get better. All of you will get better at your instruments.
I totally agree.
Yeah. But you can't create that kind of, I don't want to use the word synergy because we're not in an 80s conference meeting, but
90s.
Hang on, check the PowerPoint presentation up there.
Yeah.
But you can that kind of
vertical
interactions, those interactions you can't create that. You can get better at your instruments, but you can't make someone not be a jerk. You can't make someone not be someone that you can't work with. You can't force yourself to end up forming a bond with someone that you're never going to form a bond with, you know?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that is.
And that I think applies personally, obviously, like you're saying, but musically as well. Like you can actually get along with someone personally, and then you get in the practice room and you're like, I mean, yeah, that's technically impressive, but it sounds like shit.
Yeah, it's not working.
It doesn't fit the song, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely.
You're trying to do 311 over top of, you know, we're trying to do Granddaddy, and that's just not going to mesh.
Nope.
Like you're an amazing guitarist, but we don't want 311. We want Granddaddy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's
Do you want Brian? Do you want 311 or do you want Granddaddy?
I mean, personal taste, I like Granddaddy better. I'm not a really big 311 fan. I do have a scar on my knee, though.
Have to.
Well, I did have to at one point in college when they were, you know, it was like 93, and somebody was like, oh, we need to go see this band.
93?
The Georgia
in college?
Theater. Yeah.
God, you're old.
Yeah, I am.
must stay shallow while getting high.
They're always like, oh, we're all the same age. And I'm like, dude, I'm like 5 years older than you, but whatever.
Just run through that out there just to make fun of you.
But so, like, 311 was like playing like a small gig. There weren't a lot of people there. And the old Georgia Theater, when they had, there were like cement divots where the seats had been pulled out from the old theater. And some of the rivets were still sitting up, and somebody came and hit me from behind, and I went down on my knee and ripped my pants open and like tore my kneecap. Like, I had a big scar there. I think it's still there. So I do have a history with 311. Yeah.
So 311 ruined your knee.
I mean, it's hardly ruined unless I was trying to be a knee model and I didn't want to have any scars on my knee, which I'm not. So no, I mean, like, my knee works fine, but it was
311 does not work fine.
No. I'm not really a fan. I remember that was when you moved to a new town and I think it was a freshman in the dorms, and somebody was like, "Oh, I love this band, let's go see it." So you're like, "Sure, yeah, I'll get out of the dorms."
At that time, you didn't know who 311 was.
Well, right, nobody did.
Nobody did, right?
But he did because he was from like Peachtree City or something, and like knew that they had played some whatever. And so I was like, okay, sure, whatever. Then you go see a band, and you're like, I guess I don't go see bands that they suggest anymore.
Right.
Like, I guess I'm going to find other people to suggest the bands.
To bring it back around to what we started talking about. It's like, yep, if that's your jam, then maybe we should just smoke weed in the dorm together.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And not go to shows. Yeah. Because you probably weren't going to like it if I dragged you to the Sonic Youth at Legion Field show or whatever.
Exactly. Although it tends to be the other way around. People who are into that kind of music, like anything you throw them, like, yeah, man, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then you feel bad because you're like, no, your music fucking sucks.
Well, that's how you get to be the tastemaker of the group.
Yeah, right. See, yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Good point. Well, so Friday you're playing for Athfest.
Yep.
And then and the album comes out on Friday.
And what's the name of the album?
It's called Pretty Wars.
Okay.
And I think
what label is it coming out on?
Laser Brains.
Mm-hmm. Laser Brains.
Yes.
How are you able to get a hold of this album? Is it pre-order right now?
It's gonna be a vinyl pre-order on Friday, and and then we're just doing digital only, so Spotify and iTunes and everything.
Cool. So it'll be available for people to hear when this is up, because it's going to go up on Friday. So yeah, very cool.
So as you're listening to this, you're probably on a computer.
Yeah.
You might not be, but you probably have your phone around, and you can go on your phone, on your computer, and download the album and put it on a different set of speakers and listen to the album while you're listening to the interview.
Right.
Sure.
Put the album on the good speakers and the interview on the computer speakers,
right?
Not the other way around.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. That's a fair point.
And another point is that some of the songs are already up, but I guess this will be,
cool.
This will be a few days.
And also, if you play the podcast episode that we're recording right now and the album side by side, they match up perfectly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, they interact with each other in ways that you guys didn't even know that I've been doing this whole time.
Yeah.
So I hope you're excited.
We've set it up. It's like it's like a Pink Floyd and Wizard of Oz situation.
Yeah. So
except it's both audio.
You want to exactly 27 minutes before you start both.
Yes.
You want to take 2 shots of tequila.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 1 mushroom cap.
Okay. That's it.
That's
so before
it.
you, all right. So maybe we should put that disclaimer at the beginning, and then
So basically, we're recording right now. What's the same thing as what are those tracks called that they did with MS33K guys?
Riff tracks.
Riff track. This is basically a riff track right now
for the album, but we're not listening to it while we do it.
You know what? We joke. That's actually a good idea.
Just talking over somebody's record?
Like, talk about a record. Yeah. Do a riff track to a record.
Sure. Okay. Yeah,
we could, you could do it this way, where like the artist gets to choose the songs and the parts that he's like, I kind of wish we would have done that shit a little different.
Right.
Right. That's what I mean. You can do a riff track about that.
And then just like listen to the good parts and like, and then now coming up,
just talk over all the parts you didn't like.
Yeah, the parts that you wish you
just start. What are you doing, man? Okay, no, it's fine. Everything's fine now.
I just had a little seizure. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Well, thanks for coming on, man.
You say little seizure, and Alexa pulls up Little Caesars to order.
Oh man!
And then you get a pizza.
Oh, that's perfect, because then the tequila's
right at the end.
Off and
right when it's over, the pizza comes. Except they don't deliver, do they? But anyway, one can dream. Anyway, thanks for being here, man. This was awesome. And,
thanks very much for having me. That was
check out Blue Blood's new album, and we will we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
See you Friday.
Yep.
Load in, load out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Load In, Load Out, a tour story podcast produced by me, Bill Fortenberry. Our hosts are Cash Carter and Ryan Lewis. We'll be back soon with all new episodes. Please pardon our progress. We here at Load In, Load Out hope everyone has a safe and happy Athfest. See some bands, eat some food, and enjoy some of the best of what the Athens music community has to offer. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for listening.